you're one of the only men who spit I've had in my mouth. So I just want to say that I've also had Willie Nelson spit in my mouth.
You're not going to want to miss this. G'day guys, this is Holy Critics signing in, and I have to admit that I never expected to see Jimmy Dore interviewing Alex Jones. If you recall back in, I think it was 2016, Jimmy literally spat in the face of Alex when he gatecrashed the Young Turks stage at the Republican National Convention. But since then, Jimmy's gone through what can only be described as a revolution of the mind. Now he's starting to see some of the truths that Alex Jones has been espousing all these years. In this particular segment that you're about to watch, Alex is going to reveal his relationship with Tucker Carlson and what both of them deem to be the greatest threat to humanity, which is interdimensional demons, alien beings. Just watch as Jimmy gets completely red-pilled on the subject.
Tucker Carlson said this, and he was talking about UFOs, and I want to get your reaction to what he says here.
These are my views, okay? They can't be proven, but I think they're informed views. The phenomenon is real. It's been recorded for thousands of years. We know that. There's something buzzing around us in the skies, but also under the oceans, we now know, and probably underground as well. So it's real. The government's lied about it a million different ways, probably for a million different reasons, for at least 80 years. That's also confirmed. They're lying about it now. Who knows what their motives are? And they're also trying to keep a lot of the stuff from being disclosed. That's true.
Yes.
So to those people, it's like, it's a psyop. Well, yeah, everything's a psyop. But I know for a dead certain fact, and it's provable, that, say, Mitch McConnell and Speaker Johnson and people who should, and a couple committee chairmen who should all know better, are trying to prevent the UAP Disclosure Act of 2023 from taking effect in a meaningful way.
Did you guys know about that? The UAP Disclosure Act. That's news to my ears. What does that stand for?
So they are trying to hide it still. That's a fact. My own view is that these are not aliens. There's no evidence that they've come from somewhere else. We would probably know. We've got a lot of technology that's watching what comes in and out of the atmosphere, and there's no evidence of that. I think they've been here forever. This is my view. Again, it can't be proven, but I'm just telling you after a lot of conversations, I think it's likely that the U.S. government has had contact with these, direct contact, and over a period of years. I find that really disturbing because and a bunch of other things that are highly distressing that I can't prove, and so I'm certainly not going to throw them out there. But I'll tell you this. I've talked to a lot of people about this, not because I've never been interested in UFOs until like 5 years ago. And I was like, wait, this is real. What is this? Why aren't we talking about this? I'm just like coming at it from a totally idiotic, I don't know anything, curious position, which is my normal posture on everything. And so I've talked to a lot of people. And my view is that this is my opinion, that there are things about this that are really disturbing. And while I hate any kind of government secrecy, and if I could prove any of this, I would say it immediately, consequences be damned, I do sort of understand why they don't want to let this stuff out. It's not about, we've got fragments of one of these crafts at a Lockheed, facility in California, and we have biologics from the craft. Everyone knows that that's likely true. Well, it's certainly true that they have the, pieces of this stuff.
Yep.
But I think it's likely that it's darker than that, and that the U.S. government is, I say the U.S. government, people in the U.S. government, not the U.S. government, but there are it's the largest human organization in history. Parts of it, have knowledge that is very, very disturbing. And I personally strongly think that there's a spiritual component to this that I don't understand and will not pretend to understand. But I think it's very clear that there's a spiritual component to this. That's one of the reasons the Vatican, and I'm not Catholic, but has been involved in this for over 100 years, has an observatory, et cetera, et cetera.
It's quite strange because he's saying he doesn't believe in aliens, extraterrestrials, but he acknowledges the existence of spacecraft. So if they're not alien, if they're spiritual, Why are they using physical forms of transport like UFOs? Strange.
I mean, it's pretty obvious that these are not men from Mars. That I think that was a psyop, because I think the truth is a little bit wilder and has deeper implications just than that.
So what do you think he's talking about there? Go ahead.
Well, I have to be really careful here because, you know, I'm friends with Tucker. I hang out with his son, you know, go hunting with him and shooting and go visit him and things like that. In fact, I invited him to come out to Florida sometime next month, and I just love Tucker, love to death. And, you know, I told Tucker some private stuff. He told me some private stuff. He asked me on his show to go ahead and say it. And I said, you know, I'm not going to tell those stories, Tucker, because he said, why not? Tell it right now. During a break, he was, you know, we were taking a piss. And I said, Tucker, why don't you tell your stories? He said, touche. But
I hope they didn't have that conversation beside each other at the urinal.
I tell you what, when Tucker tells his stories, I'll tell mine. And I'm giving you a little bit of a hint here, and I've not broken confidence or anything here. I'm just saying that more and more people are having these experiences. I mean, you might be driving down the road and you're not on drugs and it's 8 a.m. in the morning and you have no history of mental illness. You've never seen an hallucination, both optical or you know, olfactory. And you look over in your seat and there is a demon sitting right there in the seat saying, I'm going to kill you.
Have you guys ever experienced that? I can't say I ever have. A demon right next to you.
I mean, that is going on. And so 95% of this interview has been stuff we can prove. They're going to control our minds. They're going to do all this. They're going to make us eat bugs. And so they're all, here's the best info I have. They didn't meet the aliens at Roswell. They didn't go, and Eisenhower didn't meet with the aliens, you know, at Hangar Area 51. What they're doing is they're getting interdimensional information from lower level beings that are older than us or been around. The transistor, all of this just came into being, and it's not coming in crash spacecrafts. That's what they're giving them, but they'll literally tell the government when they're in these DMT operations, okay, bring in 10 kids and cut their heads off for me. And you can say, well, they want you to do evil things. They like it. They like the pain. Or is it just to see if we'll do what they tell them? And then they go, okay, open your mind. I'm giving you a design for something. And then they're giving us a design to build a system to enslave us. It's kind of like the movie, cheesy 1990 sci-fi movie, Species, where they've got a radio telescope aimed.
Is that the one with Michael Madsen and Ben Kingsley? I think I've seen that before.
50 light years away or whatever it was, and they get sent a DNA sequence from aliens. And they go, let's inject this into a female egg and see what happens. Well, they just sent the blueprints for us to kill ourselves and for an alien to take over. And so basically the aliens don't come in flying saucers from Mars. They don't come up out of the, you know, the Pacific, you know, rim, you know, from the hollow earth. They come through the interdimensional vortex and then communicate to our brain that is operating in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th, and even 11th and 12th dimensions.
There's 12 dimensions? Can't say I've ever heard that before.
And so the invasion, ancients would call it spiritual. And look, maybe our archetypal development is we're scared of big cave cats and cave bears that used to eat our ancestors. And when, you know, you ever notice a kid at night is more scared in their room than out in the street around thugs, because where did primates usually get eaten? It would be in their nest or in their cave, coming out of the cave mouth, because that's usually where. So kids are always, little kids that have good instincts are always at night. I'll close the door. Oh, what's in the door? As a kid, I remember like doorways at night were going into it, because that's our instinct. So maybe these things don't look like big demons with teeth and eyes and all this. Maybe that's the only way our brain processing it. When it has a wider spectrum we're taking in, it only processes a tiny bit, but we're getting it all. The subconscious and unconscious is actually decoding it all. So that's what's a cat seeing? How does it decipher it? Because all we have is the archetypes of our genetic ancestors imprinted on us to be able to decode things.
I think that's called epigenetics. I have studied that before. Certain switches get turned on, like obesity, for example, is passed on from father to son or daughter. It's an interesting field to study.
And Tucker Carlson has had an awakening. He's had an awakening that good and evil exist. And before, he wasn't sure about that. And so he's had experiences now that have shown him how real this is.
You know, I'm really into Carl Jung. He talked about a collective unconscious, which kind of parallels what you're saying about the knowledge of everything that came before us. And he would have these visions in his dreams that were symbols of things that he didn't know what they meant, but he knew they were important. And then he would read books about the alchemical process, which was all about psychic gold, turning psychic lead into psychic gold. And he would find out, 1,000 years ago, they knew what this symbol meant. And why would it show up in my dream? And if I didn't know what it meant already, well, because you already have access to that knowledge. It's called the collective unconscious. That was his greatest contribution to psychology. And I think
that's absolutely true. So you can't really turn lead into gold, even though with some of these big cyclotrons, they can do it now. Small piece, but it takes a lot of money in energy. But you can, with advanced knowledge we already have, create the gold of new inventions. And I'm saying there's bad actors that are trying to get us to build things that are destructive because they want to hurt us and get rid of us because of whatever destiny we have or whatever is unfolding. I'm just speculating there.
Wow. There's a hell of a lot to unpack there. I don't even feel qualified to go down that road. Hell, I feel like I just got bloody red-pilled. Please, guys, share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Alex Jones is talking out of his ass, or is he speaking the cold, hard truth? Enjoy the rest of your week, and this is Holy Critic signing out.